Good afternoon, South Africa, and welcome to Afternoon Express. My name is DJ Loyd. So welcome to Hump Day. It's a Wednesday right here on the show, and we're very excited to tackle a very big issue in our country. It's an epidemic that faces each and every one of us, and it's something we have to talk about today on the show, and it's all about alcohol abuse. It's estimated that almost 5 billion liters of alcohol are consumed a year in our country. It's one of the highest per capita rates of alcohol consumption in the world, and it's important that we discuss this issue today. So first up, we've got SABC1's Future Leaders host, Shaka Sisulu, joining us in the loft, plus one of their mentors, DJ Loyd, joins us to chat about what they're doing to tackle this from the forefront. Then we're also tackling this issue from an Alcoholics Anonymous point of view. What is happening with our teenagers, and why are our teenagers drinking so much? We're going to be chatting more about that later on. Plus, we have a professor joining us in the loft today, and particularly today because it's International Fetal Alcohol Syndrome Day. So we're going to find out more about that. So it's a discussion you do not want to miss out on. 083-913-3728 is the number you can dial, and please interact with us live on air today. This is your chance to chat to us about this topic. It's a big one. Plus, on Facebook and on Twitter, you can find us. We're Afternoon Express on Facebook, Afternoon Chat on Twitter. You can use the hashtag Afternoon Express. Now, I'm very excited today to say that we have a brand new guest presenter joining us in the kitchen. She's just joining us for today because we've decided to let her kick back, relax. You've seen her face on our show before. It's none other than Winstanley.
Thank you, Danilo. Yes, indeed. Look at me in the kitchen, all dressed up and nowhere to go besides. We're in the kitchen with Clem, my favorite friend from Taste Magazine. How's it going?
That's an event enough, isn't it?
I know, how cool is this? So today we're going to be doing foodie fun things in the kitchen today. What are we doing?
Absolutely. We're going to be doing a chocolate and chipotle glazed oxtail.
Oh, I love chocolate.
Absolutely.
I love chipotle. An interesting combination, which I'm sure we're going to tell everyone a lot about in a minute. And if you want to cook along with us, go to afternoonexpress.co.za, grab the recipe, get your ingredients ready, and cook with us. We love when everyone cooks with us.
Absolutely.
It's so much fun to see people creating the dishes and making something fun on Instagram and Twitter. Just go wild and have fun. But for now, let's go see what Danilo's doing on the couch.
Oh, Claire, I wish you could be part of our family of all time. I love, love, love having you in the kitchen. Now, being born into a family of iconic politicians has its own set of pressures and expectations as well. Our first guest has not only exceeded those expectations, but has forged his own path and thrived in the areas of entrepreneurship, community upliftment, social activism, as well as a successful career in the media world. Joining us on the couch is the grandson of ANC stalwart, it's Walter Sisulu, and son of National Assembly Speaker Sisulu. It's Shaka Sisulu. Welcome to our loft.
Thank you.
How are you?
You should be my publicist.
I should, right? I write great bios.
Yeah,
I should have added in there funny guy too. I missed that one. Sorry, I missed that cue.
I missed it too.
Earlier on. So Shaka, it's an honor to have you with us in the loft today.
Yeah, thanks very much for having me.
You're a very cool, outspoken guy, and you're lots of fun, and you really are taking this issue head on.
Yeah.
Let's first begin with a bit of a bio on your background and growing up. I mean, having so many politicians in your family, a lot of pressure on you, I suppose, growing up?
Well, you know, when I was growing up, they weren't politicians. They were freedom fighters, but everyone was fighting for a particular ideal, a cause. You know, they believed in a particular country, and it was just the norm. It was just the norm to be with people that believe really strongly and actually go and do something about what they believe in.
No, you were quite an activist of yourself by mistake, though. You almost tried to take out our president at some point in your life.
I don't know if you can call that activism. Like being an assassin.
Tell us about that story.
You read the wrong newspaper articles.
But just as a child, tell us about that funny story, because I thought it was worth sharing. You know, you as a young child and you're playing around with an AK-47.
It's funny because, like, you know, like, as people get mad with the president, lots of people are like, hey, you! Oh, that's such an awesome story. Then others are like, yes, you've messed that up.
No. But no comment, no comment.
Okay, but no, actually what happened, I was just, you know, I was taught at a young age to play, I mean, not to use weapons, AK-47s, grenades and so on. And then, you know, one day, I just happened to go and find the thing and play around with it and make a mistake and shoot a hole in the wall.
Happened to run down the side.
Well, he wasn't there. It was right by his bed, like by the pillow. Right, but it's just daytime and he wasn't, you know, so... Whew.
Fun times as a child, so growing up for you was quite interesting.
That wasn't fun that night. You must best believe the hiding.
How many hidings did you get from that one? I don't even want to
I've blocked it out.
So Shaka, let's talk about what we're here to talk about today. Something I'm very excited about your journey because I share a lot of these views with you. You have this real big passion about leaving a legacy. It's one of my mottos of my life, making sure that when I leave this earth, I make sure that there's a legacy that's left behind. You've done something very similar. Why is leaving a legacy such an important part of your journey so far?
I don't know if it's as deliberate as let's leave a legacy. I am, you know, as I work on different projects, and you know, as I get longer in the tooth, I do start to think, you know, what'll happen when I'm gone, you know, and I'm not there to nurture this thing, or when I want to go and do something else, you know.
Who will say my eulogy?
Well, I'm not so much worried about like when I die, but you know, let's say if I was involved in this particular show, and then you know, I'd wonder what's going to happen when I'm not involved. So I'm, you know, more and more I'm thinking about that. But I just think there's so much to be done, and you know, we have a finite amount of time.
Yeah.
And I'd just like to be part of getting things done.
Yeah, so you're one of those youngsters who already are getting things done. You are starting to leave your legacy on many platforms, like your social entrepreneurship stuff we'll get to in a bit. But that shift into media, into radio and TV, why that shift?
This is incredible. I mean, especially radio, it's just the ability to find a voice. And also be part of conversations, because you know, radio is so immediate, there's an immediacy to it. So being able to have conversations, people are in the moment, they're present, they are able to voice whatever it is, and you know, pitting different voices against each other. So you can kind of hear a blend of different ideas of, you know, the different identities of South Africa, as opposed to just one narrative, you know. So I really enjoy that about being on air. And I guess with the TV stuff, I was really excited to work on this project, as well as the One Day Leader project, because it really is about shining the light on youngsters that are so inspirational, right?
Yeah.
And that actually, because of that light being shone on them, have an opportunity, you know, to really go on and do great things with all of the potential that they have.
Yeah. So you've chosen some very empowering sort of things to get involved with. Cheese Kids for Humanity is one of the organizations you started. What is the aim of that? What is the purpose?
Well, it was accidental. And it really was just a couple of friends trying to do something. And then we realized that there are lots of other people who want to go out and do something, you know. And then we forged it and turned it into a vehicle that allows young people to find a way to go and do some community service, you know. And
channel.
Yeah, to channel. But initially, you know, well, with time, it became like a catalyst. And we deliberately focused it on being a catalyst. So we'd say, you know, people want to. I'm sitting on the couch, I'm watching TV. I want to do something amazing, you know. I want to do something incredible. I just don't know where to start.
I don't know where to begin.
You know, and it's too hard, and what do I do? Do I go and, you know, research it? No, you just join.
Just start somewhere.
And come, you know, get the SMS, get the email, come. And what we found is that the more people came, the more they started finding their own things to do. Yeah. And so it became a great catalyst where it was like, I don't know what to do, come. You'll do this thing with us? Oh, that's so awesome. I'm having such a great time.
I have this idea too.
Now I'm going to go do my own thing.
Okay.
So I think we've seen many people that started or that came through going on to do their own projects and supporting their, you know, their own different communities in different ways. And that, for me, is really, I guess, that's really the success of that particular project.
Cool. So obviously we're going to be chatting to you more about the SABC One show, Future Leaders, and what you guys are doing for that. So we're excited as the new host. So remember, South Africa, if you have any questions for our guests, don't hesitate to call us right now.
Not any questions. Not any questions,
only the easy ones. 083 913 3728. Now, legendary Belgian songstress Dana Winner is on her tour in South Africa, and we're giving away VIP experiences to 2 lucky Afternoon Express viewers. The prize includes a set of double tickets to the Cape Town or Johannesburg show, a signed album copy, and a meet and greet. All you have to do is SMS the keyword music, your name and city to 33728. And remember that those SMSs are charged at R1.50, and you can find all the other T's and C's on our website, afternoonexpress.co.za. The competition closes tomorrow, so you don't have much time left. It closes tomorrow afternoon at 5 p.m. So get SMSing right now. We'll be right back.
Any occasion, anytime. Nobody makes better tea than you and 5 Roses.
Welcome back to Afternoon Express on SABC3 with me in the kitchen with Clem. The best part about being in the kitchen today is that I don't have to do any of the cooking. How cool is that? Look, no apron.
Well, I'm going to get you to help me out today, if that's okay.
Definitely. Okay,
awesome.
So we spoke about chipotle and chocolate. Where do we start?
So the idea about today's dish is mixing the two together, which sounds kind of like odd, but if you think about it, Mexican mole sauces.
Absolutely, I love Mexican mole.
So we're gonna cross cultures a bit. So a little bit of Mexican, a little bit of South African using the oxtail.
I feel like we've dressed the part today, don't you think?
Look at you, all flowery as well. So we've got the onions and garlic going already. I'm gonna ask you to take care of that.
You're gonna have to stop me from taking over here.
No, please don't. So I'm gonna get the pot on in the middle. Or maybe we can do it.
Pot is on.
Here we go. The first part is cooking our oxtail. So we're just gonna add a murpa. You know, that's just onions.
Absolutely.
Celery.
The base to a good
and carrots.
Stew, anything, whatever you want to do, get that going and just build up those flavors.
And developing flavors, exactly. That's most important. So there's no oil in there. It's nothing. That's just a little bit of natural moisture in there. A little bit of garlic.
So you're just going to let the vegetables sort of sweat off and do their own thing.
Just a little bit. And some bay leaves. You can use fresh or dry.
Can I stir for you?
Go for it.
I'm going to ask you for instructions just so I feel like I don't rule the kitchen because it is mine.
I'm just a guest. Okay, so oxtail going in. I love oxtail. It's absolutely my favorite.
It's one of those things that I grew up hating. My dad begged me to just taste it, and I was like, but it ends in tail. How am I supposed to eat something that ends in tail? But now I love it, you love it, and we're going to get everyone else to love it.
My worst is when you go to a restaurant and you order oxtail and you get the dish and they've taken the meat off the bone. My favorite part is eating.
Does that?
I know. My favorite part is eating the meat straight off the bone. So.
And it should fall off the bone.
That's exactly what we're cooking for about 2 hours.
Cool.
So
that's going to simmer.
Imagine we started this 2 hours ago, right?
Okay.
So the idea now is, and this is a tip as well, but you know this already, bringing the dish up to temperature on the stove, getting it simmering now, saves us about 20 minutes in the oven because the dish is already hot.
Cool.
The oven just takes over and continues cooking.
And then obviously an oven-proof dish.
Absolutely. You don't want to be destroying things in the kitchen.
Plastic handles in the oven. No.
No. So let's leave that now. In the other pan, we're going to start on our sauce. So we've got the onions and garlic going, and we're going to let that cook down completely.
I love red onions, as everyone knows. So why do you decide to put red onions in here?
It's a lot sweeter. But the truth be told, if you're using white onions and you cook it down completely until it's caramelized and brown, it's going to be sweet as well. I suppose just by habit, we just love using, and especially in sauces. Totally. So,
absolutely.
We're doing that.
And then obviously, you know, if anyone is missing our ingredients here and what we're doing and how to do it and methods and whatnot, go onto the website, afternoonexpress.co.za. It's all there. All sorts of yummy, delicious ingredients and recipes for you. Like this one.
Absolutely.
Go for it.
So,
interrupting you over here. How rude of me.
No, please. So, chipotles, what do you know about them?
Ooh, okay, so what I do know and love about them is that they've got that wood-smoked, smoky kind of flavour and they're dried jalapenos.
Exactly. And what I love about them, the most part out of the box, is the smoke. Absolutely. I mean, you can smell that.
I know, you get that instant...
And for me, when I smell that and I smell chocolate, you get the citrus notes and the smoky notes, the earthy notes. They're kind of similar. It's like brothers from another mother. So absolutely. So we're going to play on that today, and that's going to be, once again, like you mentioned, developing flavors throughout.
Delicious.
So...
And then, you know, sort of what we know, but what everyone might not know is where to get chipotle. So it's going to be available in-store at Woolies sometime soon.
Definitely,
at selected stores, so look out for it.
So we've got some tomato paste in there. And then let's go with a little bit of apple cider vinegar, just to get that tomato paste mixed through.
I'm going to just crank up the heater slightly.
Go for it.
That?
And I'm going to add your sugar at the same time. You're doing such a great job. I'm just going to keep on going.
Look at me in the kitchen.
I should probably just step right out.
I should, like, consider this as a job. What do you think?
Yeah, no, totally.
So just a little bit of sweetness.
Just to balance out the flavors.
Cool.
And then, normally you would hydrate the chilies in some water. I'm doing it straight into the pan today.
Okay.
It's just less dishes. I do not like doing dishes.
And you're not going to chop this up anymore, just to let it hydrate in the sauce?
Because what we're going to do is we're going to actually blend it up at the end.
Awesome.
So, I mean, also if you don't feel like doing all the chopping, onions and garlic, rough chop, everything, get a nice brown off, sear it off, because like I said, it's going to get blended at the end.
Okay, if we don't want to add the chipotle, we can't find the chipotle, I would add a little bit of chili. Would you do the same?
Totally. And for that smoky flavour, some smoked paprika.
Awesome.
Why not? So, that's going to keep on going. And once the onions are softened out a little bit more, we've got a little more color in it. We'll just top it up with some water and let it cook down once the chili's all hydrated. And just get it going. I'll give it about half an hour on the stove.
Okay.
On a low heat, just to reduce and intensify those flavors.
Perfect. And are we going to get the lid on here just when it starts to simmer? Hey?
As soon as it starts simmering, we'll do that.
Okay, cool. So is that kind of it for now until later?
Totally. We'll give it some water in a few minutes, just once we get all those flavors married a bit, and then we'll just cook it down.
I'm obsessed with the color of that sauce.
It's like bright red.
Absolutely love it.
Insane.
Cool. Okay, so we'll get back to that now. But for now, on the couch, we're going to get back to Danilo.
Indeed. So we're about to tackle that big issue I said we're speaking about today, and particularly about teenage alcohol abuse. Future Leaders on SABC1 follows the journey of 5 teenagers who bring to life their decision to stop drinking alcohol, turn their lives around, and create practical, sustainable projects that will curb underage drinking in the communities. Joining us on the couch again is Shaka Sisulu, as well as DJ Loyd, who's one of the mentors on the show. Now, DJ Loyd, we haven't had a chance to chat to you just yet, but you and I know each other from way back.
Of course, yeah.
You've been in the media for a long time. You and I were on Hectic 99 together for many years. You're involved with the youth there. You moved on to Good Hope FM, and so you've done all your radio work there, which also has a large youth audience that you've got going. All of the projects that you seem to run have got youth involved. Why did you choose to get involved in the show?
Well, I think first and foremost, like the whole dialogue around the show is kind of taking someone from one point to where they're better. And for me, I've always believed in the journey rather than the destination. So it was really like appetizing for me to get involved into something where I'd actually see someone come from one point and then at the end of that process become someone better, and more so actually affect their whole community. So the moment I got the call, like, hey, are you interested in this? I was like, definitely, yeah.
And infused 2 things, your passion for the community and your passion for media. Both came together in a perfect like little package.
Exactly.
Yeah. So Shaka, as the head mentor in this program, what exactly are you guys hoping to achieve by the show? Because you're on season 3 now. The first 2 seasons tackled something else. Now underage drinking. Why underage drinking, and what are you hoping to achieve?
Well, look, the point about it is that, you know, if you look at most of young people in the communities that are looking for something to do and they look up at their role models, guys who are drinking, there aren't enough heroes. And what we're trying to do is show that young people can be their own heroes. And, you know, the issue also of tackling these social ills, a lot of times, you know, the old adage, you know, idle hands is an idle mind is the workshop of the devil. You know, let's get young people motivated to be doing different things, you know, starting their own different projects. Understanding that, you know, if they look around and they say, you know what, I'd like to be playing soccer or tennis, they can go out and start, you know, developing that infrastructure and figuring out how to do that. So the journey, exactly, the journey of a young person saying, okay, that life is cool for them, but I want to do something else, and I actually want to do something fun with my friends and something that is going to entertain my friends and captivate their imagination. And let me go do that, and let me figure out how to get that done. That really is what this entire show is about. It's about uncovering that journey, walking it with these young people, and holding their hands as you know as they walk down that path.
So alcoholism is a disease, guys. It's something that I think is not as simply a social ill. It's got a lot of other elements to it, from genetics, etc. We'll get into that later on. But how did you guys go about choosing these 5 teenagers? Because what right-minded teenager who's going through this would want to put themselves on television and say, you know what, I drink too much alcohol and I want to change my life?
Hey,
how did you go about choosing them?
I guess which youngster doesn't want to be on TV? But, you know, the kids aren't alcoholics as yet. So they're not afflicted. But they're dabbling, they're experimenting, they're playing with it. You know, so part of the criteria is young people that are playing, you know, or are affected by alcoholism.
Okay, so it's people who are potentially drinking at an age they shouldn't be drinking. How do we get them out of this? Loyd, this is a big issue. It's a big issue in our country, and it's something that must be dealt with very seriously and sensitively at the same time. What kind of training did you guys have to tackle these kids? Do you guys feel like you're well equipped enough to mentor these teenagers on their journey?
I think you're never, if you believe that you're actually well equipped or fully equipped, that's where maybe your problems might start, because mentorship is a journey in itself. The weekend before we met the young lady who I was mentoring, we actually went through a whole workshop of how to mentor. And it's like very thin line between being a mentor and a coach. And you're not trying to become a coach, you're actually trying to walk the journey with this person. And you actually realize that you also actually end up learning quite a lot. So I think for me, the most important thing was I want to meet this young girl. I want to make sure what her journey is, where she's at, and start understanding that.
Yeah.
And I think that's what equipped me to basically walk this journey with her, because once you get an understanding of the people that you're working with and the people that are in the group, you kind of start looking for the results, which is, I want to help you become a better person.
So you're obviously working with one of the mentees that you've got going. What have you learned about alcoholism and why alcohol as a whole?
Yeah.
Why do you think our young people are drinking so much, and what can we do about it?
I think it's a big form of escapism for young people. You know, first of all, they want to experiment. So everyone around them, they're seeing people that are older than them. It looks cool. It's glorified on media. It's all around them. And you're like, what is this? I want to try it. I want to see if it's actually going to make me as cool as at first. And then I think once that web locks you in, then it starts representing and creating a whole lot of negative
ills.
and ills and so forth. So I think
how do we curb that?
I think in terms of curbing, it's information. For me, what I've realized with my mentee, it hasn't been trying to tell her, no, don't do this, no, don't do that. It's kind of supplying the right sort of information and saying to them, you know what, you can make the choices either that are going to help your life or actually going to put your life in a negative space. And I think there's a lot of things that have started uncovering themselves throughout Future Leaders themselves that kids can start doing. But for me, pivotal information.
I love the fact that you guys have taken the mentorship angle, because I think that's the most vital part, is allowing somebody else to walk this journey with me, because it can be a very lonely space. I mean, who do I trust, who do I not trust? So it rocks. So I'm glad we have you guys on the couch with us today, so please do hang around. We want to continue this conversation. You can also continue the conversation at home, 083-913-3728. Give us a call, interact with us on Facebook and on Twitter. This is your space to talk about this very, very big epidemic in our country. But moving on from something very serious to something really, really cool, if you don't know what a footsie is, let us enlighten you. A footsie is a selfie of your feet, looking amazing and ready for that close-up. Afternoon Express are giving away the island holiday of a lifetime with the best footsie on Twitter. But to help you get your feet ready for summer, here's your footsie tip of the day.
All women love a little pampering, but finding the time or even the extra cash to visit the salon is not always possible. But thanks to this amazing little device, you don't even need to leave the comfort of your home to achieve a professional pedicure. Here's what to do in just a few steps. First, wash your feet and pat them dry. Next, gently roll the Shaka Velvet Smooth electronic foot file across the hard or dry areas of the feet for 3 to 4 seconds in each area. Next, give your feet a quick wash under warm water and pat your skin dry with a towel. This is the ideal time to trim your softened nails and file the corners. Finally, apply essential moisture cream and carefully massage into your feet. Don't forget between your toes.
Well, now you know how to master the DIY pedicure, so don't miss your chance to walk on white sandy beaches on a fabulous 7-night vacation for 2 on Reunion Island. All you need to do is all you need to do to enter is first make sure that your feet are ready for their moment in the spotlight with the Shaka Velvet Smooth electronic foot file. Then snap a footsie, that's a selfie of your feet looking absolutely velvety smooth, and enter via Twitter and Facebook using the hashtags footsie and hashtag afternoon express. Winning that island holiday of your dreams couldn't be easier. T's and C's apply, so please visit the Afternoon Express website for all those details. We'll be right back. From wild nature to clear blue lagoons, Reunion Island offers the traveler a unique adventure, exploring a diversity of landscapes and cultures in one exceptional environment. Classified as a World Heritage Site, Reunion Island's stunning landscape allows you to travel from a volcanic desert into a tropical forest all in one day. Enjoying the harmony of the island, you can experience a variety of cultures and tastes, from Asian cuisine to Creole markets. Reunion is paradise found.
Shaka Velvet Smooth electronic foot file. Perfectly smooth skin after one use.
A warm welcome back to Afternoon Express right here on SABC3. Now, South Africans are known for excessive drinking. It is estimated that we as a nation consume in excess of 5 billion litres of alcohol annually. But what happens when the issue extends to the youth? Underage drinking is a serious cause for concern in South Africa, and joining the conversation now is Vaughan Pankhurst. He's a representative from the AA who has worked specifically with underage drinkers. And I think, Vaughan, the biggest thing that we're facing in our country is the culture of drinking that we have. But before we get into that and how we can stop curbing this as young people, let's just first to get a feel for your story and how you got involved in the AA. Are you a recovering alcoholic?
I'm a recovering alcoholic, yes.
Cool. Tell us about your story.
My story is that I was eventually brought to my knees by the disease of alcoholism. I was given 6 months to live. My liver enzyme count was through the roof. So I escaped getting liver sclerosis after that brain damage. The disease of alcoholism is chronic, progressive, and fatal. And I was given 6 months to live.
So you were a very successful businessman. You had traveled the world and you were doing so well with your life, and eventually had to leave that all to enter into rehab to sort this out, because it was then that you were either going to die or to live, and you chose to go in the rehab route. And so you've been, I think, clean for 5 years, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
So let's talk more about the disease of alcoholism, because I think in many ways South Africans are not taking this issue seriously enough to understand that it is a genetic thing, that you can be prone to being addicted to things, and whatever way that it manifests is that's what you're going to take up. Tell us more about the disease itself so that we can know how serious this is.
Okay, well, what science is telling us, what we do know about the disease is that there's definitely a genetic component. In my own case, my late father was an alcoholic. He drank himself to death. But we know that we are born with a predisposition to becoming addicts, so whether the addiction is alcohol or drugs or whatever. Then what happens is that it takes some or other trauma to activate the disease. And that trauma can be one of many different things. It can be a divorce, it can be a death of a sibling, it can be a death of a parent. Anything that the child finds traumatic will activate the disease.
Sure.
And then the person will pick up the first whatever, and, you know, regretfully from there on, it's a steady downward slope.
So you can be born with an addictive personality and then either get addicted to drugs, sex, alcohol, whatever it might be. Whatever addiction kind of catches on first will be the one that you take on, which I think is scary, because I never knew that before. I thought it was a culture thing, that you really enjoyed the feeling of being drunk and therefore became a drunk. And that's how it kind of progressed. And I don't think that's the case. I think there's a lot of genetics involved with it, and we must be very careful. Our youngsters are being exposed to alcohol as like a sort of binge drinking. You go out and you drink a lot. Shots are all around, you know, it's 5 or 6 beers a night at least. And we've got a really bad culture, and I think we want to try and break people out of that mindset. What is the issue with the young people? Why are they drinking so much, and how do we curb that?
Well, why are youngsters drinking so much? Because there's a huge drinking culture in South Africa. To be part of the in crowd, a lot of peer pressure, sporting events encourage the abuse of alcohol. And you know, the socio-economic factors that we can't ignore in South Africa. Alcohol abuse blots out a lot of unpleasant things. And very often kids grow up in homes where alcohol abuse is the norm. So it's learned behavior.
Yeah, so our parents are most likely doing it, so we do it too.
Correct.
Let's discuss something that I find quite pertinent. I remember having a discussion with my friends around why, when I moved to university, was there this big drive to drink as much as I could when I went out. Every Thursday night it was drink, 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 and that's what it was about. Families are trying to say that maybe I should introduce my child to alcohol at an early age, so I don't demonize alcohol, that it becomes part of maybe your daily routine, a glass of wine here, a glass of wine there, so that by the time you leave, you don't binge drink. What is the most important method that parents can use to introduce their children to alcohol without having them have to do it behind their backs and at an excessive rate?
Well, there's a huge amount of literature available today, and parents should do whatever they can to educate their kids about the consequences of alcohol abuse. Whether or not parents should encourage them to start drinking at underage is a debatable point. I would hate to get into interfering with how parents see that they don't want to do that. But, you know, at the end of the day, it's honest communication between parent and child. Be honest about this thing. The disease of alcoholism, it's a killer. It's progressive.
And not enough people, I think, are speaking about it. So I'm really glad we get to do this today. So, Vaughan, thank you for joining us in the loft. Please hang around. We want to include all of our guests on the couch together to engage with the viewers, to make sure that we can discuss this in a much more detailed level. Why are teenagers drinking so much, and how do we change this alcohol culture in our country? Don't go away, though, because, like I said, I want you to join that conversation. Right now, though, Claire, that smell is amazing on your side.
Absolutely, indeed. We are cooking with chocolate and chipotle here. And of course, Clem from Taste Magazine, we have a recipe for amazingness, don't we just?
Wow, thank you so much.
Annie. Okay, what are we doing next?
Okay, so by the magic of TV, our oxtail has been cooked off, and it's been 2 hours.
Fantastic, and it's looking soft and delicious and juicy, just like we want it.
So I didn't sear the meat off before it went into the oven. So what I'm going to do now is add a bit of flavour by actually searing it off afterwards.
Okay, cool.
And what I love about this dish as well is both the sauce and the meat can be prepared the day before.
Absolutely.
And I think even better, the mole sauce or our chocolate and chipotle sauce would actually be better if you make it the day before. And
it's
then
sort of like a curry where it gets better as it develops and sort of those flavours just grow overnight.
Absolutely. So I know we said we're going to blend the sauce, but I mean, it's actually looking really smooth and a little bit of chunkiness in there, but that seems to be fine.
And if you wanted to, you could grab your stick blender and just give it a bit of a blitz to smooth it out if you wanted to, but between the two of us, we're good with this.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. So we've added a little bit of chocolate in there.
Okay, so we've got our certified chocolate over here. And why did we decide dark chocolate?
Once again, it's just to play on the flavours of the chipotle, that citrusy, earthy notes of the chocolate and the chipotle together. They go really well. I wouldn't use a milk chocolate in this one.
Because it's going to add a bit of sweetness.
Exactly, and once again, it's going to blow off that balance.
Yeah.
So, I would add as much chocolate as to your taste. Once you start noticing the chocolate is just becoming too much, just stop adding it. And that looks pretty good.
And then this chocolate is obviously melting really fast in here because the sauce is hot, so we don't need to do anything else here to get it to melt. It's just beautifully emulsifying into our sauce, and that goes into that. So my chocolate seems melted. Can I add it over into yours?
Wow, this teamwork is just amazing. I think we need to get our own show, the Claire and Clem show. Absolutely. Let me pass you the spoon.
Shh, don't tell anyone.
So as you can see, the meat's really browned off, and once again, like big today, it's building on flavours and flavours. So the extra little brown bits of the meat, that's just going to add more flavour.
I mean, it just looks fantastic, just like that.
I cannot wait.
If you don't feel like making the sauce, just eat this. I'm just going to pour straight out the pan.
Go for it, and I'm just going to...
It's going to sizzle and pop a little bit, but
I'll turn the heat down a bit.
You're well protected, but I'm not wearing an apron today, so I'm a bit nervous. There we go.
So you're probably wondering what side you would serve with this.
Yeah.
Because it's so rich, because it's so meaty, I would do something that's light and fresh. I would even do like a pickled salad of some sort. I mean, I don't
a little
like
bit of carrots.
Absolutely.
Cabbage.
It's so weird.
Vinegar.
I don't like celery, but I love pickled celery.
Oh, okay.
So weird. But I mean, I would do like a pickled celery salad with this. A lot of coriander in there as well.
Because the pickling sort of lulls down the flavours a little bit, eh?
Probably, and it cuts through the richness of this dish that we've got today.
I would love a little bit of steamed rice with that.
Absolutely, but you know the one thing, like I said, you just gotta, don't do knives and forks with the oxtail. Grab it with your hands.
Well, this looks absolutely delicious. We're gonna get a little bit of a side going and get it ready for everyone to try in the loft. But for now, let's go back to Danilo.
Indeed, guys, we're about to take a short commercial break. After the break, Professor Dennis Viljoen joins us on the couch to discuss international fetal alcohol syndrome. And if you haven't already, make sure you enter our Go Green SMS competition. All the details for this week's question are available on our website, afternoonexpress.co.za. You don't want to miss the chance to win that ultimate grand prize. Take a look. The Afternoon Express team is going green. Join us every Tuesday at 4 p.m. until September as we bring you the most innovative trends in sustainable fashion, food, decor and design, as well as handy tips to help you reduce your carbon footprint.
Answer our Go Green question every Tuesday and stand a chance to win a R1,000 Woolies gift card every week.
Plus, simply by entering, you also go into the big draw for the ultimate grand prize worth over R500,000.
Including a dream sustainable kitchen makeover from Cordev, fitted with Bosch appliances with R300,000. Also, up to R250,000 worth of home upgrades so you can live off the grid. Plus, food and homeware from Woolworths valued at R75,000. And a R25,000 towards a school of your choice with My School.
So, go big, go green with Afternoon Express every Tuesday at 4 p.m. to win these amazing prizes.
Woolies and I collaborating to raise R100 million through the My School program. Are you with us?
Welcome back to to Afternoon Express. Today is International Fetal Alcohol Syndrome Day. It's a problem that not only affects South Africans, but is prevalent across the globe. Joining us in the loft to help better understand the fetal alcohol syndrome and to give us insight into the issues surrounding it is the founder and chairperson of the Foundation for Alcohol-Related Research, Professor Dennis Viljoen. So Dennis, first of all, welcome to our loft. It's good to have you.
Thank you very much indeed.
So, Professor, let's first begin with what causes fetal alcohol syndrome and what does it have, what kind of effect does it have on the fetal brain?
Well, alcohol is the substance, and it's the most toxic substance known to mankind for the fetus. So it is an extremely dangerous substance to take during pregnancy, obviously, and it affects mainly the central nervous system.
Yeah. So obviously alcohol affects any kind of growing person. So whether you're a young person or a fetus, anything that's trying to grow, alcohol does cause a lot of effects around that. So what are some of the statistics we're facing in South Africa around fetal alcohol syndrome? Because I heard a very alarming statistic about the number of teenage pregnancies we're facing in the country, and I'm sure that this must also have an effect on the number of fetal alcohol syndrome babies we're having.
Certainly does. You know, the statistics, we've only done statistics in 4 provinces and in high-risk populations. And the statistics vary between about 4 and 16% of the population are affected by fetal alcohol spectrum disorder. So that's the whole spectrum, including fetal alcohol syndrome. And this is an alarming figure, and it's the highest ever reported anywhere in the world.
So obviously it's caused in the womb. I suppose in many ways it's caused in the womb when the mother is drinking during pregnancy. How much alcohol would be considered not okay?
Well, any alcohol is deemed unsafe in pregnancy.
At all?
At all. The reasons are numerous, but basically we don't know how an individual will react to alcohol. Do you metabolize it quickly? Do you smoke as well? Do you have other substance abuses, et cetera, et cetera? So all those factors, how good is your nutrition, you know, and so on. So the advice given by the foundation is do not drink at all during pregnancy. But obviously, the heavier you drink, the more likely you are to damage the fetus.
So I'm sure in many ways this has a large cultural aspect to it, because if you think about knowing that you have a child that potentially has got fetal alcohol syndrome, when they're born, this also leads to a lot of things like abortion and, you know, adoption and people leaving their kids around. So what kind of effect is this having on our nation, fetal alcohol syndrome?
Well, you know, we think that there are between 5 and 10 million individuals in this country who in some way, maybe in a lesser extent than fetal alcohol syndrome, but in some way are affected by alcohol that was drunk by them.
10% of our population.
That's what we feel is the current figure.
Why is there this need to curb it? What can we do to start curbing fetal alcohol syndrome?
Well, you know, there's education, education, education to start with, but also to replace the need for alcohol and the peer pressure around alcohol during pregnancy, and for mothers to understand how they are damaging their babies. And we don't believe that a mother purposefully injures her baby. So, you know, so working on that premise, you can start various prevention programs, one of which is the Healthy Mother, Healthy Baby program that the Foundation has started. And we've managed to reduce fetal alcohol syndrome in one of our areas by at least 50%.
Wow.
So it was 30% when we measured it, and we believe it's even lower now.
Yeah, I think because our teenage pregnancy is so low, a lot of the population who are getting pregnant aren't educated enough to know what happens through the pregnancy period and how to protect your baby in the process. So it is an education thing. Early, I think the earlier on we can teach children this, I think the better we can go about it. So,
I agree.
Professor, thank you for being with us today and sharing this news. Please stay with us on the couch. We're going to continue that conversation. After the break, like I said, we continue our conversation. And remember, we are live, so you can call us on 083 913 3728. For now, though, Bonnie sat down with Dr. Chamandran, and he's at the Stain City to find out what the effect stimulants have on kids.
Welcome to our Fresh Pack Natural Goodness series. Today we're focusing on how stimulants such as caffeine can have a negative effect on our children's behavior and health. Welcome back, Dr. Chamandran. Great to have you.
Thank you.
So, how does caffeine affect our children?
Caffeine is a stimulant, which means that it acts on the central nervous system, the CNS. So it heightens your central nervous system. And in adults, you know, when we take caffeine, we start getting jittery, we feel more alert, more awake. And when that's taken to the next level, we start feeling agitated, anxious. Now with children, those effects are heightened even more. So some of the effects on the body, you would have an increased heart rate, increased blood pressure, a feeling of jitteriness, a feeling of panic. Then obviously there's the side effects of decreased sleep, and in children, sleep is so important. For adolescents and teenagers, they should be getting about 8 to 10 hours. And without sleeping, you can have a cranky, cranky little adult.
And what are the sources of caffeine?
One of the commonly known sources of caffeine is coffee. However, it's also present in a lot of soft drinks. And you're not going to believe this one, but chocolate as well.
Wow, I can totally believe that, because when I'm feeling down, I just have a piece of chocolate and it works. How can we limit our children's caffeine intake?
What you want to do with children is decrease the caffeine gradually and replace it with non-caffeinated drinks. A perfect substitute would be something like rooibos. Rooibos is not artificially sweetened because it's got its own natural sweeteners within it, and it's not caffeinated. So by replacing your carbonated, caffeinated drinks with something that's nutritious like rooibos, you can't go wrong.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shumendran. You've done a great job of reassuring our moms once again. There you have it. We all want our children to be happy and healthy. Therefore, it's important to make the right choices at all times. So until next week, keep well with the natural goodness of Fresh Pack.
Express yourself.
Fresh Pack. Goodness comes naturally.
Welcome back, everybody. Now, a big thank you to all of our guests for joining us today to discuss this very, very important and serious topic in our country, that is alcohol and the way it affects our teenagers. So we've got our guests back with us on the table. So, guys, really cool to have you here. And I think we'll start off with one of the calls that we've got. Dimpo, welcome to Afternoon Express.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good, thanks, and you?
I'm doing very well, thank you. So, Dimpo, it's very cool to have you on the show with us today. What is your comment or question?
My question is, as a teenager who is surrounded by friends who drink, how do I restrain myself from that?
Okay, cool. Good question. I'm going to actually nuance it. How do I restrain myself, or should I restrain myself from going out to drink with my friends?
I think if I would answer her, the fastest way is to think about all of the negative outcomes of it. You know, like, it's the same thing that I say to my mentee every time she's faced with a choice is, you know what your potential is, and you know what it is that you want to achieve in life. Is this going to help you do that, or is it going to hinder that?
Yeah.
And I think from there, you've got your answer.
Yeah, and Vaughan, it's also a slippery slope, if I'm not mistaken. So once you start with the one drink, it could end up in a whole bunch, and it becomes this method of binging.
Yeah, it's a slippery slope. Look, there are 20 questions that she can answer. She can contact the AA helpline, and they'll give her those 20 questions. If she answers yes to more than one, there's a problem. If she answers yes to more than two, that she needs help. Okay. And if she answers yes to 3 or more, she needs help fast.
Yeah. So, Dimpo, I think in many ways, thank you for your question, first of all, but I think in many ways the whole point of this is to make sure that you understand what effect it's going to have on you. So if you are going to go out with your friends and drink, what effect it's going to have on you. So thank you so much for that question. Guys, any final words out there for our youth of South Africa? How do we curb trying to prevent this culture of drinking in our country? Because it's not okay. I think in many ways, I decided in my 3rd year or whatever that it's just not okay. Why do I need to go every night to go out and get drunk? For what purpose? How do we curb this? Loyd?
I think it's important, like I said, echo the same sentiments. You've got to remember what your worth is. You know, you've got to remember what it is that you want to do with your life. You've got to know what you're worth. But
it doesn't affect me. It's like almost like I don't change as a person. It's not going to change me as a person. I just want to have fun. So why can't I go out and have fun?
But that's what you think. That's what you think, that it doesn't affect you as a person. But it does begin to affect all your decision making. It does begin to affect your life. Just your whole life changes. And you think that it's just like this one small thing. I'll have a small drink, but then you're having a 2nd drink and a 3rd drink, and then it starts off with missing a meeting or being late for something the next day, and you thinking that it's okay, and it becomes a culture in your life that you think, you know what, I'm just going to get away with this, and then tomorrow I'm not going to really feel like the consequences of my actions. Yeah. But it all adds up.
Sure. So, guys, we'll get into your comments now, but I'd like to welcome Claire and Clement to bring through the food. Guys, it smells delicious, and I was really getting distracted during my interview. I'm talking about very important things here, and it smells amazing.
Time to share.
And well done on presenting yourself in the kitchen there. I think maybe I might be out of a job very, very soon.
I must admit, it's very different being on the non-apron side of the kitchen, but it was fun.
Cool. Well, Clem, you're welcome to dish up for everybody if you want to help us try, you know.
Or you guys should help yourself,
right? Or help yourself.
Dish up.
Do that. And while we've got you, Shaka Sisulu, quick comment from you? How do we curb teenage alcoholism in our country?
I guess this is an awkward time, but...
No, go for it.
I think
multitask.
Don't finish the meat, please.
Here you go. I do think that, you know, for us to pretend that going out, having fun, having a drink and all of that isn't an attractive, you know, proposition for young people would be a blatant lie. You know, we all want to go out, have fun and, you know, turn up and all, but, you know, the issue is the moderation and the slippery slope at which point we find one day we're having a great time with our friends and the next day it's the thing we need to live with, you know. It's like it's now I need to have my drink on a very, you know, on a regular basis.
And it's not healthy to continue doing that. So guys, I think what we've done here today is we've started the conversation, which I dig so much. So thank you so much for joining us in the loft, all of you, and continue to inspire and mentor young people in our country. We want to curb this disease in our country. We'll see you same time, same place tomorrow, South Africa, between 4 and 5 p.m. right here on Afternoon Express. Good night, happy eating. Coming up tomorrow on Afternoon Express, beauty consultant Matahle Stofile shares some advice, and pop rock singer Daniel Barron joins us for an exclusive performance.
Another feel-good production.